Our national security and standard of living depend on the reliable functioning of a vast array of assets, networks, and systems, such as food, water, energy, communications, transportation, banking, and more. These are referred to as critical infrastructure and include physical or virtual assets, systems, and networks so vital to the United States that their incapacitation or destruction would have a debilitating impact on security, the national economy, or public health and safety. The risks we face as a nation are complex. They include a mix of human-caused and naturally occurring threats and hazards that range from terrorist attacks, cyber threats, oil spills, and power outages to hurricanes, earthquakes, floods, tornadoes, and wildfires.
Hi, this is Sheila Aliens. Today is Thursday, July 23rd, 2015. Military exercise JADE HELM started on July 15th officially and is set to run through September 15th. In my last video, which I posted on July 12th, I went over some of the unusual system outages and power outages that have been happening in our country since late June into this month, July. So I posted that video on July 12th. On July 14th, Dabu7 posted a video entitled Heads Up Spec Ops to Hold Planned Power Outages as JADE HELM 15 Begins. He posted that July 14th. Well, his source of information was actually a website called stevequail.com. So we'll just go there to see exactly what was said. The source of this information is an alert posted on stevequail.com on July 14th. I'm not familiar with Steve Quail myself, nor would I normally take this information seriously at face value. But let's go ahead and see what this warning said. Planned power outages to be initiated on California-Nevada border in the Ant Hill and Tejon Ranch area. So I guess this Steve Quail guy has an insider source of information who's involved with the military in some way, and that's where he's getting his information from. Here's what he said. On the nights of July 15th through the 20th, Spec Ops, which is the U.S. military's Special Operations Department, will be conducting operations at a major power center in the mountains between California and Nevada. They will supposedly be practicing surveillance techniques, defensive operations, and even sabotage operations of power stations. This will be Spec Ops conducting operations under false pretenses on land owned by a power company. He goes on to say that by false pretenses, he means that his source of information knows for a fact that the military leadership has not told the power company that this operation is running in conjunction with a bigger overall national drill. And it goes on to say if they are doing this secretly in this one area that is not shown as hostile in the JADE HELM map, what are they doing all over the country? So I gotta say that they were right. I live in Southern California. I can't speak for the Ant Hill and Tejon Ranch area. I'm not really familiar with that area, but I am in Los Angeles, and starting on the 15th, we had a bunch of strange power outages. Here's just some of the things that happened on the 15th, JADE HELM Day. An underground electrical fire triggers widespread power outage in Long Beach. Now, these people were out of power for 4 days, mind you. 4 days it took them to get that back up and running. On Wednesday, July 15th, there's a fire reported around 3 p.m. and it blew off a manhole cover in downtown Long Beach, and it left thousands of people without power in that area. Even though they were able to knock down that fire, 2 more additional substations subsequently caught fire underground, leaving thousands more without power. Power was not fully restored to all customers for another 4 days. People's food was spoiling, they were starting to panic, and one apartment complex even went up in flames due to an unattended candle during this blackout. ABC News did an interview with a man who's been working with PG&E, that's the electric company, for 47 years. And this is the first time he has ever seen anything like this happen. As I mentioned, a manhole cover had gone flying in the air. I was able to locate the police scanner audio from the moment that was reported over the scanner.
Search, give me a rundown what you got. At this point, we have PD's cut off traffic in both directions in front of our dispatch location. We've also had one manhole cover that's popped. No one is injured. We also have smoke coming from another manhole cover about 100 yards away from that one. There is a telephone pole that apparently is smoking, and there's a manhole directly underneath it that is also popped prior to your arrival.
Thanks to radioreference.com and broadcastify.com for the police scanner audio. Also on Wednesday, July 15th in Northern California, there were widespread 911 outages because of intentionally cut fiber optics cables. And they've been dealing with this so-called vandalism of fiber optic cables for the past year, and it's happened over a dozen times so far. Another thing that happened that same day is the Chicago O'Hare Airport outage. A computer system outage disrupted Spirit Airlines flights at Chicago O'Hare on Wednesday, forcing the carrier to cancel 16 flights. The glitch came early Wednesday morning when an electrical spike led to a connectivity issue for Spirit's O'Hare operations. The outage is a second to hit a big U.S. airline in 2 weeks. On July 8th, a major system-wide outage grounded flights at United Airlines. Same day, Wednesday, July 15th, this is something I noticed myself. Police had the intersection near where I live blocked off with yellow tape and everything. And they said that somebody was filming something, and this is Hollywood, so it's quite possible that they were. But we didn't see any cameras. So we went a couple blocks down, and the lights were out, and there was a funny little policeman doing those dances directing traffic. I looked down the street in both directions, and in either direction, the traffic lights were working, including the one that they had blocked off. I didn't think much of it, but come to find out, there was 2 power outages right in that area, but they skipped several blocks. There were several blocks in between where there were no power outage, but they happened simultaneously, and they blamed it on balloons hitting the wires. Probably nothing, I just thought it was weird that it happened to be on the same day that all these other outages happened. 2 days later, on Friday, July 17th, the lights went out at Dodger Stadium here in Los Angeles during a game between the Los Angeles Dodgers and Washington State. The lights went out 3 times, and they just ended up rescheduling the game for the following day, Saturday. And I thought this was pretty funny what the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers had to say, Don Mattingly. They were having some talks about breakers and things and computer glitches. It was over my head. Hopefully tomorrow it's not a factor. So breakers and things and computer glitches. There you go again with the weird excuses for these outages. On Friday, July 17th, an outage in Huntington Beach was blamed on faulty cables. And within 24 hours, we had a huge storm, and they were blaming the next power outages on the storm, which arrived on Saturday and broke all historic rainfall records for Southern California. It was a very rare and oddly timed storm, by the way, thanks to the remnants of Hurricane Dolores. Given that the military is conducting all these other secret exercises causing real power outages, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to think that maybe they steered the hurricane this way to further stress the environments under which they are testing their personnel in their reactions to dealing with these emergencies. And if you are a diehard skeptic and haven't done your research, it is common knowledge that the U.S. government knows how to steer hurricanes. It was on Discovery Channel. Look it up. Storm Fury is what they called it. And that was decades ago, so I'm sure they have perfected the technology by now. In keeping with these exercises that seem to be going on, a few things that have happened that may or may not also be connected. We have the North Fire, which shut down the 15 freeway in Cajon Pass. It destroyed vehicles, burned structures, and prompted mandatory evacuations. And just a couple days ago, following the freak storm we got, there was a bridge collapse on I-10. That's the main route that connects Phoenix to Los Angeles. And that route has been inaccessible for days now. But they hope to have it back up by Friday, which is tomorrow, the 24th of July. Not to mention the shooting of the Marines that happened in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Of course, they blamed it on the Arab guy, as you probably know. I won't go into that one, but that might be a coincidence. Who knows? But it happened the day after JADE HELM started, and it happened to the Marines, who are currently notorious because of Operation JADE HELM. I could go on, but we'll just stop there with the incidents. So what is to be made of all of this? It seems pretty clear that these are military operations going on at the expense of the U.S. citizens. Luckily, I don't think anybody was killed during any of these blackouts or 911 outages, but 2 people were seriously injured in that Long Beach apartment fire. I was going to go more into things like CyberGuard 15, a drill that ended in late June, and all this other evidence and documents and websites I found, and video clips from the government.
So how are we going to harness the power of governmental capacity, to include our own department, in defending critical infrastructure in the private sector in the United States?
In order to be effective, training has to be realistic. What we experience in a training environment is what we will do in real operations.
The NIP information sharing approach is based on a networked model that allows distribution of and access to information in multiple directions, bottom up, top down, and laterally, between various partners that include the intelligence community, law enforcement, government, and critical infrastructure owners and operators.
We offer various programs to the private sector, such as we assist them with getting training in security awareness. We offer them free vulnerability assessments of their site.
But I think I'll save that for the next video because I started this one on a Tuesday and it's now officially Friday morning, midnight. So maybe I'll make another video. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that's what happened in California. The predictions were correct by Dabu 7 and Steve Quayle, and in general about JADE HELM being about cyber attacks. All those videos, they were right. So pretty creepy. Turns out Texas isn't getting much of any of the action, but here in California, I'd say we definitely are. All right, thank you for watching. Yeah.
Targets and potential crowd violence. It can be quickly de-escalated by targeting the leader, or if necessary, by panning across the entire crowd, while armed individuals mixed in a crowd can be engaged without risk to surrounding civilians.